We change the question mark to a 1, and we're done with line 11. Then we move on to line 12. Line 12 is the end of the subroutine. We deallocate all the columns that we allocated earlier for this. And then we are ready to go back to wherever we're supposed to go back to. We're going back to where? Line 8, because return info tells me to go back to line 8. Okay. Back to line 8, I'm going to perform the operation here because there are no pending invocations anymore. R has a value of 1 because we're talking about column J. Column J has a value of 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, and we use 2 to update R again. As a result, column J is updated to a value of 2. Are we doing okay? Then we go to line 9. Line 9 is just adding 1 to I. I goes from 0 to 1 in this case. Then we have to go back to line 7 because this is a while loop. We have to go back to the first line of the loop to re-evaluate the condition, which is I is less than n. I is less than n is false this time because n is 1 and so is I. 1 is less than 1 is false. So it's time to get out of the loop, ending up on line 11. This time when we are at line 11, we are returning R again, but R has a value of 2 this time. In other words, we are returning 2. Return 2 means we have to locate the rightmost return info cell, copy and paste it, and then change the question mark to a 2. And then we are done with the return statement itself. We move on to line 12. Line 12 is going to deallocate all the columns for this invocation. And then we have to figure out where to go back to. Which is not too bad because we have the return info cell to tell us where to go back to. That's the whole purpose of the return info cell. And it's helpful to open up another split window like this. We are going back to line 8 again in terms of execution. But line 8 is executed in the context of columns C, D, E, and F. That means R here refers to column F, which has a value of 1. Okay? 1 plus 2 is 3, and 3 is used to update R again. So column F is updated to a value of 3. Is that okay so far? And then we go to line 9. Line 9 is just adding 1 to I. I had a value of not 1, it is already, not 0, it is already 1. So this time it is incremented to 2.
Real quick.
Yep.
Column F, did we update R already? You
We
went all the way to the top.
might have. Oh, it's already updated to a value of 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. You're right. Okay. Because I can't see that part, I had to scroll around to find it. Thank you. Very good. Well, okay. Do you guys want me to explain that part again? Why I changed R to 4 instead of 3? It's because I could not see on row 15 of the trace is already updated to 2. Okay. And now we're going back to line 7, and this is also a good time to remind you guys to change the resolution of the screen to the maximum the first thing you go to the lab to take the final exam. Okay, the default resolution is 1024 by 768, which is the resolution you see here. But the monitors are capable of 1680 by 1080, which is much higher than the default resolution. So you want to change the resolution of the monitors as soon as you get there so that you can fit more stuff on the screen. Okay, so we're back to line 7, and on line 7 we have to look at what is n. N is 2, I is 2 as well. So when we compare those two, 2 is less than 2 is false, and it is time to get out of this loop. After line 7, getting out of the loop, we end up on line 11. On line 11, we are returning R, and R has a value of 4 at this point. We are returning a value of 4. So we copy and paste the return info cell, we change the question mark to a value of 4, and we are done. We are done with the return statement. After line 11, we go to line 12. Line 12 is the end of the subroutine. We deallocate all the columns that we allocated earlier, and then we use the return info cell to tell us where to continue execution. It tells me we have to go to line 13, and by the time we get to line 13, we are just printing a value of 4, which I can do. And because there's no more line after line 13, we then say post to mean that we are at the end of the execution. Okay. Now you guys won't have the same problems that I have, because even with this particular example, I just want to change the resolution of the screen so that you can see what it will look like to you when you are in the lab. And I made a mistake of hiding the other columns, so I have to put them back out again. Okay. First of all, you won't be magnifying this, spreadsheet the way that I am. So first of all, it will be at 100%, and that means it's almost fitting the entire screen, even though I'm not using the maximum resolution. If I switch the maximum resolution, you will see exactly what you will be seeing if you're looking at this same spreadsheet in the lab. Okay, I lied. It's not 1080, it's 1050. Okay. And we'll just apply it for this time. This is the resolution that you'll be seeing at the lab, and you can see that the entire trace can be seen from top to bottom when you're in the lab. Now, obviously, people in the back cannot really read the text anymore, but in the lab, you have a monitor that has the same resolution as what you're seeing here, so you should not have any problem reading the text on the screen. Are there any questions at this point? Yep.
Question about OpenOffice, really. Mm-hmm. When you want to deallocate a cell, you highlight all the cells you're deallocating, and you're able to merge them.
You don't have to do that. It's just easier for me to do that. It's okay. Let me change the resolution back so I can actually show you what to do to get that part done. This may mess up the screen recording. When I change resolution in the middle. I'm not sure what it will do to the screen recording. It might mess it up a little bit. Not 100% sure. And I can't see the bottom of the screen either. I guess I can always do that. Okay, so you're talking about how to merge the cells. If you want to merge some cells, one way to do it, let me just try here, is to select all the cells that you want to merge first, and then you go to Format, O, you go to Cells, oops, E.
There's an icon up on the...
Oh, okay.
Right there. To your left.
Oh, this one here? Okay.
That one will merge then.
Okay. I'm just lazy. I use the keyboard shortcut.
What's the shortcut? What's the shortcut?
It's Alt-O-E-M.
Okay.
To me it's easier because I don't have to move my hand over to the mouse. But you guys don't have to do that. As long as this indication of which columns are deallocated, you should be fine. Yep. So don't spend the time.
Just curiosity.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in the notes, I actually use a strike-through font, to indicate that is deallocated, and obviously that will take even more time for you to do it because you have to go to Format, Characters, and then use the strike-through option. Yep.
I actually looked over the notebook and I made the strike through it, and I got so annoyed that I actually made my own shortcut.
Oh, okay. Now, if you make your own shortcut, you may not be able to do it over at the lab. That means, if you want to use your own version of OpenOffice because you have customizations that makes your job easier, you can consider using OpenOffice Portable. So that way, all the macros and all your settings stay with you on the thumb drive, and you don't have to set up everything again. Okay. Are there any questions about the first question itself? No? Okay. Now, up to this point, I have not uploaded anything. If I run out of time right now, there's nothing that I have turned in yet. Okay, so that means you have to kind of gauge how much time you have especially at the end of the test. If you know that you may not have enough time to finish everything, you might want to upload first. Okay, upload the partial solution first so that I have at least something to grade before you run out of time. To upload, it's the same thing as before. So you basically just click here or click browse, either way it works. And then you go to the folder that contains the files. In this case, I put it here. And just double click the file. And it's waiting. Okay, so now it's not done yet. Remember that you have to. Oh, okay. Okay, here is where you can use the save without submitting button, because when you do that, then it will upload the file. Okay, how do you know it just uploaded the file? You can see that the answer is already available. You can actually use this link to download the file back. Okay, which also means that at this point, if this computer crashes, it's okay. I just move on to the next one. I log into Moodle again, and I can re-download the same file and continue to work on it at that point.
If you already uploaded the file and you want to change the answers because you remember something was wrong, can you open that answer file?
Yeah, you can. Sure. Yeah. Okay, let's just say that I want to change my answer just a little bit. Now, when you get to that point, you have to. It becomes kind of tricky because you don't want to upload the wrong file to Moodle. If you upload the wrong file to Moodle, it will erase the previous one. So if you run out of time, then I'll be grading your exam using the wrong file. So that's why you have to be a little bit more careful when you upload again and again. If you want to use this file as the basis for your next answer, then you can just click this file, open it up with Open Office Calc, and obviously it's only in a read-only mode. Now it would be a good idea to save it under a different name, because otherwise you have multiple files in different locations of the same name, and after a while you will forget which one is the most updated one. Yep.
Does Moodle only allow one upload?
It only allows you to upload one file. So it only keeps the latest one that you upload, but you can upload as many times as you want. It only keeps one. That's the problem. Okay. So one thing I would do is not to use the -1. If you want it to be really, really obvious which file is the most updated one, use the time. So right now it is 1827 using 24-hour formats. I would just use that as a part of the file name. So this way, when I look at the file name, I know instantly, what is the time of that file. When did I create that file? Okay. Yep.
What if you upload something and say half the exams uploaded and you run out of time? Will it get submitted automatically or no?
Then I will be grading whatever you have uploaded. Yep.
What if you don't submit it? You just upload it.
Okay, if you upload and you did not have time to click submit all and finish, I can submit all and finish for you. That's not a problem. In other words, I can close the exam, but I cannot, I don't have access to the file that you have during the exam. So as long as you have uploaded it, you just and you don't have enough time to submit all and finish, that's not a problem. Okay. Any other questions? Yep.
Where's the best place to save the file before we submit it?
I would say on your own thumb drive. If you have a little thumb drive, the files that we're working with are so tiny. If you have like a 32 megabyte file, thumb drive, it'll be more than sufficient. You might have some problem finding a 32 megabyte thumb drive these days. And the other thing is you might want to bring more than one, because thumb drives do go bad, and sometimes they go bad at a more critical time. So you might want to have a backup to that too. The whole point is you have when you take the test online, you have a lot more resources than you would otherwise have, because you have all the paper stuff that you can still bring with you, but also the online resources too. So when you're studying, as you study, you might want to write your own notes on